All right, guys, so we're on the back side of day 5 notes. And if you notice, we're not going to be able to do number 2 and number 3, but we can do number 1. Number 2 and number 3 are what they call 2-column proofs, and we kind of cut those out this year. Okay, but in number 1, it says given triangle ABC with base AFEDC, okay, which is just a line segment. And then they go ahead and tell me the important information. So you're going to see the words that we saw on the other side. You have to remember that a median goes to a midpoint. Okay, so if the median is BF and we go ahead and trace over BF, we're going to find that F is the midpoint, and we can go ahead and give them a little circle. And so knowing that it's the midpoint, we know that this piece here called AF is going to be exactly the same size as this segment here called FC. Okay, we're going to go ahead, guys, and keep reading. We have a few more things that they give us. And here's the altitude that we just learned about. Altitude BD. Remember, an altitude is another word for height. And when the doctor measures your height, he wants this to be your body and this to be the floor. And so in BD is the altitude. Oh, look, they already got that right angle there for us. We know that this is also going to be a right angle, okay, on this side, along with that one that they have there. Okay. And the last thing they tell us is that BE bisects angle ABC. So if we see angle ABC and we see BE, BE right here is our angle bisector. And so we know that this angle is going to have the same measurement as that angle. Notice I kind of offset my arc mark so I can see that they're going to that BE line. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and read our options and see what we think is valid or true. So they said angle FAB. Did we say anything about angle FAB? F to A to B. No, FAB is right here. We didn't say anything about that angle, so I'm going to go ahead and say that that's probably not our answer. Next angle up is angle ABF. ABF. Now, that's close to the angle that we arc marked, but notice our arc mark goes all the way to here. So this would be angle ABE, but we did not say anything about angle ABF. So I don't think this can be our choice either. So we're going to go to 3. 3 says CE. Do we say anything about CE? No, we said something about CF, but not CE. So I'm going to say that that's probably not our answer. And the last one says say CF. Okay? And we know that CF, which is this segment here that we bracketed, is going to be congruent to this segment here called AF or FA. And that is correct. Okay? And so on this question, they were asking us about the median, knowing that F is the midpoint, and knowing that if F's the midpoint, we have 2 tick marked or congruent segments to the left and to the right of it. Okay. All right, we're actually going to go to our homework now, and I'm going to do some questions with you guys there since we cannot do those proofs. Okay. So in the first question, it says in triangle ABC, and we don't have a triangle. There's not a whole lot of room, but we got some room in the margin that we can write in. It says that angle A is 57. And it says that angle bisector AD is drawn. And we have an A, but we don't have a D. But they did tell me that it's an angle bisector. So I'm going to try to cut this 57 in half. And we'll say that that's D when I get to the other side. They want you to find the value of angle DAB. So angle D to A to B is half of that 57. I say it's half of 57 because they said that it's an angle bisector, right? And so we're going to go ahead and say that half of 57, or 57 divided by 2, is going to equal 28.5 degrees. And that's going to be equal to angle DAB. Okay, number 2. It says in triangle ABC. So again, we'll try to draw a triangle in our margin where we get a little bit of more room. It says that BP is the altitude. BP is the altitude. So I have a B, And I know altitude is another word for height, meaning that I want to go ahead and make those perpendicular lines when I get to that bottom side so that I have my right angles in there. Okay. BP, oh, I forgot my P. BP is the altitude to AC. And then they tell you if the measure of angle BPA. So if you look for angle BPA, B to P to A, we already know that that angle is 90 degrees, but now they're telling us that it's also equal to this. Okay, and so now we could go ahead and say that, well, 1/2 x minus 20 must equal 90 degrees. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add 20. And so I end up with 1/2 x equal to 110. And you could divide by half, but you're going to need parentheses around there. Instead, we could also multiply by the reciprocal. If we multiply by 2 over 1, which is the same thing as 2, makes math a little bit easier to do in your head, because 110 times 2 is really just 110 doubled, which is 220. And so that's choice 3. Okay. Number 3. It says in triangle RST. So again, we're going to go ahead and draw a triangle. Call it RST. And it says that SA is the median to RT. Well, I have an S, and so median goes to the midpoint. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to eyeball where the midpoint of RT is, and then I'm going to go ahead and connect it. However, I can't call that an M because they called it an A in the problem. So now it's an A. All right, so SA is the median to RT. And before I forget, because that's a midpoint, I'm going to tick mark those two. Because now they're going to go ahead and tell me that RA is 5x minus 30, and that AT is 7x minus 50. They want you to find the length of RT. But because I know that a median goes to a midpoint, and midpoint has 2 tick marks or 2 equal segments on the sides of it, okay, I know that 5x minus 30 is going to have the same length as 7x minus 50. Now I'm going to go ahead and subtract 5x. I get negative 30 is equal to 2x minus 50. And then I'm going to go ahead and add 50. And I end up with a 20 is equal to 2x. Divide by 2. And x comes out to equal 10. So now I have to ask myself, what is the question? Find the length of RT. So if I go back and find the length of RT, I want to know the whole thing. So I got to plug in both halves. Okay? 5 times 10 minus 30, that's 50 minus 30. So this has a length of 20, and so should this. And therefore, RT is going to have a length of 40. Okay. All right. Next question, number 4. If I can read underneath my writing there, it says that angle C is the vertex angle of isosceles triangle ABC. So isosceles is our keyword. Isosceles means to have 2 equal sides. It also means across from those 2 equal sides, we're going to find 2 equal angles. Okay? And if they told me that C is the vertex, C has to be the angle that is not like the other 2, and therefore this must be either A or B. Okay? Then they go ahead and tell me that AC is 4x minus 5, and that BC is 2x plus 9. They want you to find the value of x. Because I was smart enough to tick mark my picture that those sides were equal, I know that those 2 expressions have to be equal. I think most people would subtract 2x first. And that way we'll get a 2x. And then add 5. And 2x comes out to equal 14. Divide both sides by 2, and x comes out to equal 7. And that is what they wanted to know. Find the value of x. So that one's finished. Okay. We got one more Two more? One more. Last question we can do. Okay, we cannot do number 6 as that's a proof, but we can do number 5. Okay, and we've got another isosceles triangle called DEF. And it says that triangle DEF has its vertex at D. So if D is the vertex, then that means that those two sides are equal. And across from those two equal sides are two equal angles. Okay. Looks like we have an exterior angle of 136 degrees, and they want us to eventually get to angle D and find out how many degrees are in it. Okay. So right here, I see a linear pair. The exterior angle and the interior angle, there's our linear pair. So we're going to take 180 degrees and take away 136, and we are going to be left with 44 degrees. And 44 degrees is going to go inside my triangle at the base angle. However, because I was smart enough to mark my picture with the two equal base angles, I can go ahead and steal and bring the 44 over there. And now I can do a triangle sum and say 180 degrees in the triangle, take away the two 44-degree angles at the bottom. I'm going to have 92 degrees left for my vertex angle at the top. And that's actually what they wanted to know. And so we're going to pick choice 1. All right. And those notes are done. So hopefully you remember that an angle bisector gives you two equal angles. A median goes to a midpoint, and a midpoint gives you two equal segments. Okay. And an altitude is another word for height. When doctor measures your height, stand straight up and down so your body is perpendicular with the floor so that it makes right angles. All right, guys, I will see you guys on the next day of notes. Enjoy.